Good morning and welcome. This is Tuesday morning, the 8th of November 2022, and these are the news brief this morning. I'm your host Emmanuel Onyango.
And I'm your host Regina Mond.
And on our first story today,
Ruto British PM agreed to fast-track a 500 shillings billion projects on green energy. President William Ruto and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak have agreed to fast-track 6 green investment projects worth 500 billion shillings, spanning green energy, agriculture and transport. Ruto and Sunak, who met on the sidelines of the COP27 summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, said the clean and green investments will become flagship projects of the UK-Kenya strategic partnership, an ambitious 5-year agreement that is unlocking mutual benefits. The Prime Minister praised President Ruto's pioneering climate leadership and urged Kenya to continue along the path of green growth. Sunak urged all countries to deliver on the commitments made at COP26 in Glasgow. Ruto thanked Britain for supporting the project, saying that by fast-tracking finance into the clean, green projects like the UK, supporting Kenya to advance and maintain its leading climate credentials with mutual benefits for both countries. The President said that through its technical assistance mechanism, the Rapid Response Facility, the Council will enable partner countries to find, coordinate, and implement solutions more rapidly, including on distributed and large-scale renewable green grids and energy efficiency. Also, on the other hand, Sunak noted that 31 billion shillings investment will go towards climate-smart crop and agro-industry processing system by a joint venture with Kisumu County that will create 2,000 direct jobs and provide an income for further 20,000 farmers across counties in the Lake Victoria region.
and on another story, Senator threatened to block CDF in fight over funds. Senators have threatened to shoot down a bid by the National Assembly to entrench the National Government Constituency. Development Fund, NGCDF, in the Constitution, if the House does not increase allocation to a proposed Senate Oversight Fund. The senators said they were not involved in the process of coming up with the SOF allocation. Consequently, the lawmakers said that unless they are involved in the process, they will not be party to ongoing bid of entry in the NGCDF into the Constitution after it was declared illegal by the courts. Matulungu MP Stephen Mule and his Gishugu counterpart Gichumu Givinji have proposed that 0.001% of revenue raised by the national government should go to SOF. For the NGCDF, the proposal is to have the allocation doubled from the current 2.5%, 5%. The parliamentary initiative also wants the national government affirmative action fund to be pledged at 0.25% of the national revenue. Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna said there is no way they are going to allow the National Assembly to unilaterally dictate the SOF amount. Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua called on the Senate to push for the withdrawal of the proposed Constitution Amendment Bill to allow for a joint working group with equal representation from both houses.
6 students charged with gang raping colleague in Nyeri. 6 secondary school students have been charged with gang raping a 16-year-old in Nyeri County. The suspects, who are aged between 13 to 17 years, are first account of gang rape and another of committing an indecent and with a child. The minors, who allegedly committed the offense on October 30th at around 6 p.m. appeared before senior resident magistrate Fred Muwongo on Monday. The court heard that the victim was walking home from school where she was lured by one of the suspects whom she knew as a neighbor and schoolmate to his home. So the suspect then locked her in one of the single rooms at the home before raping her in turns together with his friends. A police report produced in court showed that following the incident, the victim did not disclose what happened to her until the next day when she reported to school. The school deputy principal, who is listed as one of the witnesses in the suit, rushed her to hospital where it was established that her reproductive system had been severely injured.
Kenya Airways advertises striking pilots job. National Carrier Kenya Airways (KQ) say it will no longer engage striking pilots, has released an advert seeking job application to replace them as a creeping strike enters the third day. This comes on the same day the pilots urged management to meet us at the table and negotiate with an open mind. CEO Alan Kilavuka, while addressing the media on Monday afternoon, said KQ will no longer engage striking pilots unless they get back to work, adding that the airline has fled contempt charges against them. Kenya Airways has gone ahead and shared an advert on the same on its LinkedIn page on Monday morning. Meanwhile, the pilots held their own press conference last morning on Monday morning. Where they urged management to stop stamping while urging airline to negotiate with them. It also comes hours after the airline management said it will take disciplinary action against striking pilots, saying the move was illegal while accusing them of absconding duty.
Ethiopia TPLF leaders in Nairobi to discuss a disarmament. Talks between the senior commanders of the Ethiopian National Defense Forces (ENDF) and the rebel group Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF) have kicked off in Nairobi Monday to draw up a plan for disarmament of the fighters and subsequent rehabilitation, as part of the agreement signed last week in Pretoria following the days of negotiations between the leaders of the Ethiopian government and Tigray. A meeting was to be organized within 5 days for their senior commanders to discuss and work out the modalities on its implementation, including disarmament issues. According to a dispatch from the African Union, the meeting is expected to result in agreements on the modalities of silencing the guns, humanitarian access, and the restoration of services in the Tigray region. In the meeting chaired by Mr. Kenyatta and Mr. Obasanjo, Mr. Kenyatta, who has been the helm of Kenya's peace efforts in the region since his time in office as Kenya's president, said he is confident that at the conclusion of the meeting, the two parts will be colleagues working together for the betterment of their country and our region.
Now, that was the morning brief here at Romy TV Africa. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, and hit that notification bell so that you may be updated on all that comes our way here at the Romy TV studios. Now, let's turn our attention to a very sad story whereby we see that 6 students are charged with gang raping colleague in Nyeri, and there are 6 boys from a secondary school in Nyeri who raped a 16-year-old girl in Nyeri County. So that gang is approximately 13 to 17 years of age. So what is your take on this matter when you see that young boys out there have started a crime of raping in the society?
I think they should, the necessary charges against them should be taken. As much as they are secondary school students, it doesn't give them a right to commit such a crime. It's an awful crime because a life is at stake there. The health of a girl and the life of a girl is at stake. It's on the line of failing. So I believe those 6 students, charges must be taken accordingly, and they must be judged according to the law of Kenya. Yeah,
it's a sad story to see that young men nowadays have turned into different people at a very little age, age of 13 to 17, and that is a very, very sad story. In another story, we see that Kenya Airways advertises striking pilots job. Yesterday, as I was finding out the news, I saw that Kipchumba Murkomen also apologized to the pilots for delaying their issues, to deal with their issues, and now we see that even the pilots have started to strike, and they don't want to go back to work because they are not treated so well. And now we see that the Kenya Airways have offered put in place applications for people who wants to join them. Do you think even if when they put applications for people to join them, will those pilots come and join them? Because at the moment, those pilots that are there at the moment, they are struggling to deal with this KQ management.
I think them putting job adverts, Kenyans, there's always a lot of unemployment. So I believe those positions will have their respective people, their respective qualifications. Because, okay, at the economy we are in right now, I don't condone the pilots, going on a strike. As much as they have issues they have to lay on the table, they have to do it in a professional way. Because we have seen some safaris being cut. You don't know if maybe someone was sick, was going for some treatment outside the country. You don't know the issues this person had, so that this person is supposed to travel. Maybe some are going back to their homes, maybe some are going back to their jobs. So I believe they are costing lives, they are costing a lot of delay and a lot of, unwanted issues for those travelers who are supposed to travel. So I believe as much as they have issues, they could have done it the professional way.
So should we say that these pilots should deal with the people and let the management of the pilots deal with the government, so that these pilots can just do their normal work, because it's business between the people, the travelers, and the Kenya Airways company. And now it's that the Kenya Airways company has made these people not do business again, and they are stopping their business to deal with the government. Is it fair for those who are traveling?
Okay, I wouldn't say it's fair, because I don't even know the first reason, the main reason for this pilot striking. We are not told. I don't know if it's salary, I don't know if it's...
It's the management of the way they are being treated by the government.
But are they being paid? That's the question.
I think they are being paid less money that is supposed to be paid. Yeah.
If they are being paid less money, then I think the government should come in and maybe give them the salary they deserve. But again, you always find that these workers, demand for too much. You've seen like even formerly doctors striking. Sometimes it calls for humanity, because you cannot go on a strike and someone's life is at stake. So that's the same case with KQ. So the pilots should go back to work, and now because they've gone on a strike and the government have seen they can take action, so I believe the government will chip in and make sure they solve the issues they have.
Right. So that's where you have heard it there. On another sad story.
Before we go that, the first story we were talking about William Ruto and the Prime Minister of UK, Rishi Sunak. We have seen he was on a project for 5 billion shillings on clean energy, and again we saw like with the project around 2,000 people can get employment. Do you think this was a good agreement? Actually, it's a good agreement, and before I remember when you were talking about the entry of the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak as the Prime Minister in UK, we said that this will bring a good relationship between Kenya and the UK. Now you see that the President William Ruto went there and did a very good agreement with the UK government, and now we see that this agreement will lead to approximately 200,000 people being employed, and this will at least bring the hustler nation will now believe that he's doing a good work. So I think, but those are just words. That is just a plan that needs to be implemented. So we cannot, congratulate them because they've come up with a plan. So we need to see them implement the plan. They've come up with words to make sure it's better. So we have to see them establish the words into actions. So I believe they have to put it into action.
I guess he's going to put it in action because all eyes are on him and his government. Because when they were doing during the political season, when they were vying for presidency, they spoke a lot of things that everyone wants to see what they are going to do. Because in their manifesto, there are a lot of things that are supposed to be done, and also the deputy president earlier said that we should give them at least 100 days so that they might accomplish what they had said.
Yeah.
And now the 100 days have not yet ended.
True.
So let's just give them time. We see what they are going to do, because this agreement has brought a lot of it will bring a lot of success to the Kenyan people. Yeah. And we can see in another sad story there, hitmen kill couple over 200 million shilling landfill. The supper last Wednesday was delicious. The supper last Wednesday was delicious. It was beef, sukuma wiki, and ugali. And mother, son, family friend were happy. Then 3 armed men stormed the house in Soljo village, Sikawa sublocation in Narok. Wow. They were ordered by the gaff-looking men to lie down flat on the floor and put their hands on their heads. All did, except Lilian Reteri Momboshi, the matriarch. She wanted to know what was happening, and if it was robbery, give the burglars what they wanted. Unfortunately, they were worse than thieves. They had come for her. Swiftly, they bound her son, Salaton Mumboshi, with a rope, and left with a 56-year-old woman who was bleeding heavily on the arm, which one of the attackers had cut using a machete. However, before they left, the attackers, who appeared to be following instructions from a man who stood at the door all along, got into a heated argument. 2 of them wanted to kill Salaton, while the third did not. The argument was within earshot of the family friend identified as Kioni, who remained prostrate on the floor. The men finally reached a consensus and decided to spare the young man. Shortly after their departure, the 2 survivors raised the alarm and the entire village launched a search. In a few hours, they found Reteti's mutilated body 6 kilometers from her house in Sojo. The matter was reported at Enosaren police station under OB number 2402-11-2022. The police rushed to the scene, proceeded it, and took the body to St. Teresa Hospital mortuary in Kilgoris. Do you think that this story shows that these men had just targeted these people for the sake of money?
Yeah, I think it was a targeted movement, because they definitely knew what they were doing. And when they came, it's not like they were, like guessing. They knew specifically what they were supposed to do, how they were supposed to abduct that 56-year-old lady so that they can give out money. So they definitely knew well this family, that it's a family of money. And they knew definitely what they were coming for. So
that's a sad story. In another story, Raila tough task of warding off Ruto onslaught in Gusii. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, One Kenya leader Raila Amolo Odinga will have to work hard to maintain his stronghold on Gusii land after President William Ruto moved to cut his influence by dishing out state goodies. President Ruto has already nominated former Nyaribari Masaba MP Ezekiel Machogu as Education Cabinet Secretary and South Mugirango MP Silvanus Osoro as Whip in the National Assembly. The nomination of Mr. Machogu and Mr. Osoro are a clear message by President Ruto that he intends to wrestle the region from Mr. Odinga's grip. Now we see that these movements by William Ruto are becoming effective because we see that he's trying to win over places that are mostly known for being strongholds for Raila Amolo Odinga by even employing, selecting Ezekiel Machogu as Cabinet Secretary and Mr. Osoro as the whip in the National Assembly. Do you think this move by the President is going to favor him in the coming years, because I know he's going to vie for another presidential seat.
Definitely it must favor him. You know, Ruto is a man who really understands the roots of politics. He understands every bit and every single, tactic in terms of politics. So he knows definitely if he wins the hearts of these people, the hearts of maybe those counties that are not, so conversant with him, definitely it will help him in coming election 2027. So as much as, Mr. Raila is, he doesn't want him to, to win those counties, I think Mr. Ruto will win, because when he became the president, he definitely did not become a president for his people or for those people that voted for him. He's a president for all. So he must make sure that even those counties that are not conversant with him, he will win their hearts.
Well, dear viewer, that was it for this morning's news brief and newspaper review. Let's meet here same time, same place tomorrow, same time. Make sure you subscribe to our channel at Romy TV Africa. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, TikTok at Romy TV Africa. I was your host, Emmanuel Onyango.
Regina Mon.
Have a blessed day.